Hey there, welcome to Whoa, That's Good. I hope your week gets off to a great start. We're about to have a really great day. I am so excited to welcome to the podcast my sister-in-laws, Lisa, Missy, Jessica. Welcome to Whoa, That's Good. Have we ever done this where we've all been on here?
No, I don't think so.
So this is so fun. So fun. So I've been really excited about having this conversation and just getting to hear more about everything that's going on in everybody's lives, getting to share more with the audience. That's been the main question is like, what's happening with everyone's lives lately? So we want to get some updates. But before we do that, on this podcast, one of the things that the reason Sadie even started this podcast is how much she learned from other people and women and in her life, just life advice. And so we put out for questions to the audience of like, what do you want to know? And overwhelmingly, the questions were about parenting and marriage. So I know all of you guys have a lot of experience in both parenting and marriage. There's a lot of kids.
What age does.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids among us, and there's a lot of years of marriage among us. So let's just first start with that. If you could give us like your best piece of advice in marriage and your best piece of advice in parenting. No big deal here, but just or something that would help the audience in those things. Lisa, do you want to start?
Sure. So I would say that my best piece of marriage advice would be forgiveness, to start with the small things, because if you can forgive the small things, then whenever the big things come, it's a lot easier to forgive those. We all make mistakes and we're all going to hurt one another. And so I just think that forgiveness is probably one of the most important things that Al and I have in our marriage.
Yeah, that's good.
And then parenting advice, I don't know, because I got grandkids now, and now I've got married grandkids. So I would say to that part, probably to work to have a good relationship with your children when they're small, when they're teenagers, when they're young adults, so that whenever they are grown and out of the house, then you have that relationship, that godly, but not just a relationship, a friendship, that they want to be friends with you, that they want to spend time with you. And whenever we're home, I mean, our kids are at our house, our grandkids are at our house. We gave away our big house to our daughter, and we moved into a small house because we thought, well, all the activity will go on at my daughter's house. Nope, they're all at the small house. But I love that because then we have that relationship with them, and not so much to teach them anymore.
Yeah.
But now just to be an example for them and their relationship with their spouse, but also how to train their children.
That's so good. I love the way you put that relationship, because I think that, I always think about how our relationship with our kids is teaching them about their relationship with God. Like we're the first example of kind of that father-mother relationship. And if you think about, that's what we want our relationship with God, is it to be a relationship. It's relational. It's not just a friendship. Like a friendship. Yeah, I love that. So good. All right, Missy.
Okay, so a little along the lines of what Lisa said about forgiveness, but my thought was grace.
Yeah.
To overlook a lot of the little stuff and just kind of let it roll off your back, because Jace has the big stuff down. He is treating people well. He is treating people with kindness. He is giving forgiveness. He is giving grace. But sometimes there's just little day-to-day things.
Yeah.
I mean, people know Jace. And I have been told by a very good friend of mine that I'm a no-nonsense gal, because she says she's total nonsense. So we're like exactly the opposite, but we get along great. So I'm like, okay, I'm kind of looking at myself like that. Like, I don't really put up with a lot of nonsense. Jace can be nonsensical a lot.
Really?
Let's just get real here. So I think it's just that whole like grace thing. And there's been a few times that I've had to learn that, because he will just say things out loud all of the time and like ask questions all day long. And once a few years ago, I was like, I do not have time to answer all of your questions all day long. I do not understand why you're asking me. I'm like a walking Google or something. And he was like, oh, I'm not asking you. I'm just like saying stuff out loud. It's just my thoughts out loud. So I'm like, this is good information.
Yeah.
I just don't answer anything.
Yeah.
He just starts asking questions. So a lot of that is just grace, because he gives me a lot of grace as well. And we've worked on that for 35 years.
Yeah.
So 35 years this year. So, and we have a new season. It's empty nesting. Mia's senior year, we had a baby drop from the sky. So that kind of interrupted that. But it's a lot of time alone together. Got to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then parenting, I love the stage of parenting I'm in. I did not know that it could get this good. And it goes back to being friends, what Lisa said, being friends with your adult children. And that doesn't just happen. Yeah. And if you're friends too soon when they're growing up, that was never my goal. I can honestly say that none of my children growing up ever said, my mom is my best friend. Yeah. No, I was not. So, and that was never my goal. But now I've heard Mia say that. I've heard Reed say that. And even about like their dad as well. And Karina. And so that's amazing, being able to, listen to their questions, give the advice, be friends. Mia calls and vents to me, about girl drama at school. So, and really wants to know my opinion about stuff. So I love the stage that I'm in and the grandparenting stage. There is nothing better.
Yeah.
No one can ever tell you or explain it to you until you actually live it out.
It's so true.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so true. How great is it that we're all grandparents?
That's right.
That's crazy.
Yes.
We're all grandmas.
I love it.
It's insane. And it really is. It's just the best. It really is the best life.
Yep.
And I always knew I'd love being a grandma. I feel the same way. But until you experience it, you don't understand.
We could try to explain it this whole entire hour, and it will not do it justice.
Yeah.
And I was a grandmother at 39.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have babies in their 30s and late 30s and sometimes into the 40s. But nope, I had my grandkids at 39. So
It's so much fun.
it
It's so
is.
much fun.
I love it.
I was sitting talking with my grandmother who's 94. I went over and had coffee with her the other day and was just thinking about how I'm 51. I have like 43 years left to get there. I have so much time. And watching, she was there to see Sadie, have kids just recently. And I was like, that's me getting to see Honey have her baby, but not just that. I think it's Honey's baby having her baby.
Her third baby.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Her third baby. Yes.
Wow.
I'm like, what a gift. I mean, God,
Yes.
if I get to live that long, how amazing would that be? It just feels like such a gift. So that's
I think you will. You've got great genes.
Thank
Yes,
you.
she does.
Thank you.
Well, we have eternity anyway.
That's
right.
right.
That's right.
We're
I
gonna
mean,
get
we were
to-
talking last night or yesterday at the shower about, I just want to remember everything. We will.
Yeah.
We will. We're
Yeah.
going to be able to remember every single funny thing all of our kids said, all of our grandkids said, all of that. It's just, that's what eternity is. It's going to be amazing.
That's the best.
Yeah.
All right. I love it. Jessica.
So when Lisa started, I was thinking grace and forgiveness. Obviously, I feel like that's really a key in marriage. And I think that one time, I would say people say that it's the first year is a struggle, but I said the first 7 years was a struggle. And Lisa can attest to that because we went to her and Al many times for counseling. But I just remember, there was a moment in our marriage that was really tough. And I remember once we started loving each other and knowing that we needed grace just as much as he needs grace, we learned we were on the same team. And that was a pivotal point in our marriage where we were like, I'm on your team. I'm on your side.
Yeah.
And once we, at first you're like, oh, you're nitpicking every little thing. But once we got on the same team, I felt like it was so much easier. And obviously we all need grace and we all need forgiveness on the daily,
right,
so that was something I feel like in our marriage that, once we realized my husband is rooting for me, that helped me, get through and show grace and show forgiveness when there were some tough times, And I think parenting, oh goodness, I I know that for me, and I feel like everybody does it differently. And I think for me, it's, knowing that we're not perfect and being able to say, I'm sorry, right? Even to your kids, raise them to know like, hey, I fall short too. And so that was something I've always done is like, if I lose it, my cool with them, like own up to it and say, look, I'm sorry. And to raise my kids to know like, it's okay. It's okay. You're going to make mistakes. And when you can get to the point where you could say you're sorry and humble yourself, that really helps in life with marriage, friendships, your children. But yeah, and just not put too much pressure. There's so many different ways, right? From, are you going to nurse, or are you going to, what shots are you going to give your kids? And, are they on a sleep schedule? It's like encouraging early moms to be like, don't put too much pressure on yourself and know there's a lot of ways to do this and there's not one perfect way, and to just kind of show yourself some grace.
If you're anything like me, then you're on the long and sometimes difficult journey of getting kids to eat healthier. Some days we're crushing it, they're loving the fruit, they're loving all the healthy things. And the other days it's just like, hey, animal crackers and cinnamon rolls, and we just have to roll with it. But that's why I'm super excited to tell you about something that one of my good friends, Shawn Johnson, helped create. If you don't know who Shawn Johnson is, she is an Olympic gold medalist, but she's also an amazing mom. And I respect her so much as a friend, as a mom, as a wife to Andrew. And they created something so incredible for kids. It's actually this Beam Kids all-in-one super powder, but it's chocolate milk flavored. So such a win. And it's so important to Shawn to make something good for her kids. And so that's why she did it for her own kids. And now we all get the blessing of it. And Beam Kids was also formulated by a pediatrician as well. And so they have so much science backed into this. But also it makes mom life just so much easier. You just mix it into milk and you're good to go. I actually started mixing it into smoothies, which is so great because I'm getting like all the extra stuff too. And, able to put protein like peanut butter and stuff in there, and then also get all these prebiotics, probiotics, the greens, all the superfoods. So it's amazing. I also love that it's way less sugar, like 87% less sugar than those little gummy vitamins. So that's great. If you look at the back of the package, you're going to be blown away. Plus, they just launched a new flavor, chocolate chip cookie. Who doesn't want that? Honey and Haven are loving it. Every time we make our smoothies, Honey watches me put all the ingredients in because she is picky, but she makes sure I get that Beam scoop because she makes sure the chocolate's in there. And so now is the perfect time to try it. Beam is offering an exclusive deal for my listeners. For a limited time, you can get up to 35% off plus 2 free gifts when you go to shopbeam.com/Sadie and use the code Sadie at checkout. That's shopbeam, BEAM.com/Sadie and use the code Sadie for up to 35% off and 2 free gifts.
That's so good.
That is good.
That's so good. Okay, I feel like we could just end there and like people would get a lot out of it. That was so good. Everybody's advice. I love it. And as you were talking about going to Lisa, I want to say that Lisa has been, Sadie and I were talking about that yesterday. She was like, Lisa's such a gift to our family. I'm like, I know she is. Aww. As the first, I don't want to say the oldest, I said the first sister-in-law, the first Robertson wife. You have been just meant so much to all of us. I know we've probably all gone to you and Alan for marriage advice and help and times when we were like at our lowest and needed something to like help get us through. So thank you for that, Lisa.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. And here we go. We're going to cry.
It's just, you know what?
You started tearing up now.
You know what? The only way that I could do that is having that same struggle myself and God healing that area of my life. And so for me, whenever he heals a certain area of my life, I'm like, okay, that's what I need to share. That's what I need to help other people with. Yeah. Because, I mean, you just look out there and there's a lot of hopeless people out there. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people in marriage that are hopeless, just a lot of young adults that are just hopeless, And so for me, if God's healed this particular area, okay, let's talk about that. Yeah. Then I'm going to bring that to the forefront because I know somebody else is struggling with that same thing.
Yeah. That's so good.
Well, I'm gonna pile on a little bit, Lisa. Sorry, but you kind of just have a way of just jumping in when you see a need, and it reminded me when you said that. It reminded me of before we were pregnant with Mia, and I lost 2 babies, and they had to surgically be removed, and it was devastating, just emotional, and waking up. My mom may have been there once, I think, and another older lady from church. It was almost like deja vu. It was happening. It happened twice in a row within a few days. The next thing I know is Lisa, because I'm covered in blood from internal bleeding, and then it all came out in the surgery. It was just gross.
Yeah.
And Lisa gets me up out of the hospital bed and takes me into the shower and just gives me a shower. And I'm, butt naked, And it's like, there was no inhibition. There was no, oh, do you want me to step? It was just like, let's go do this. You need to get cleaned off. And I can't walk. I don't have any strength, And I thought later, like, that takes a special skill to do that, to just go in, see a need. Because Jace is not thinking that way, And even sometimes our closest relatives, moms, are not thinking that way. And you're like, let's just do this. And and you're right, I was so much better after being cleaned and fresh. But you just jump in there and do things like that. And I think that that's wonderful. Thank you. It's been a long time ago, but I will never forget it.
Yeah.
That's so crazy, because that just brought back the memory for me too. After John Luke was born, you helped me into my first shower.
I remember. No, is this becoming
a theme
That
here?
didn't happen with me, but I would feel really comfortable. It's fine.
You'd be fine.
I did it with my kids too.
I
So
remember that. We were like us laughing because I looked down at my body and was like, this does not feel like my body. It's just like that feeling after you have a baby where you're like, wait, this is...
Because of that, and because you did that, I was able to do that for Kay recently in the last couple of years, because no one was doing that around her. I was like, let's just do this, Kay. And I'm like, I told her, I said, I don't care. You don't have to be embarrassed with me.
Yeah.
You just need to get clean, and I can do it. I can do it for you.
That's right.
But it helped me realize I shouldn't be embarrassed. This person needs this, and I'm going to step out of my comfort zone a little bit and help this person physically. So
and that's what love is.
Yeah.
yes,
That's
right.
Love just does.
Yep.
It doesn't. You don't have to have a reason why. It's just you see it, and it's I'm going to do it because I love this person and they need it done. So
Yeah. So since you talked about Miss Kay, let's go ahead and that was one of the questions that was asked. It was like, what did Miss Kay teach you about marriage within, as by example, or something that you remember that she said to you or whatever? So how has Miss Kay impacted each of your marriages?
Wow.
Whoever wants to go first. Jessica, do you
I'll
want to go
go.
first?
So early on, I realized Kay was on my team. She was somebody that I could go to. Most people were like, oh, don't go to your in-laws about if you have marriage trouble, right? She was one of the first ones, besides Alan Lisa, she was one of the first people I called and said, this Jep's acting like a turd. This is what he did.
Same.
And she backed me every time. Yeah. She stood up for me. She was in my corner. And it was just such a comfort, because I've always said, I was like, I have a special bond. I encourage my daughters that are married, and that I want them to have that relationship, because it is a gift. Like, I have a close relationship with Kay, and she's honestly one of my best friends. She's one I call over anything. And so that was one thing as far as just marriage, that she was always in my corner and I could go to her. And then also the flip side is just seeing her relationship with Phil, just how they would still tickle each other and pinch each other on the butt and kiss each other in front of us. And that was something we wanted to obviously have in our marriage. We want not just to stay married, right? We wanted a good marriage, and it takes work, a lot of work, and being intentional. And that's something that Jeff and I feel like we took after them. We still tickle and cuddle in front of our kids, and they know we love each other passionately.
Yeah. That's so good. It's so important. That I've heard people say that about that's such a gift you can give your kids for them to see that their mom and dad actually love each other.
Yep.
So good. I love it.
And Kay did that. I think, she was just that way, because she said, look, she told me, whenever we were first married, she was like, I'm married to a Robertson, so I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
So you can always call me. And I think that's why she was always in all of our corners whenever we would call, is because she's like, hey, I know. I'm married to one myself.
I mean, let's be honest. Look at Phil and look at all of his siblings. They are extremely different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, they are eccentric in so many different ways. I don't know another family like that.
Yeah.
Which, lightning in a bottle. Hello.
Right.
But that passes down through the generations, and to hear the cousins talk about their parents, and then Phil and Kay, That's a gift to me.
Yeah.
Because so many of the cousins are some of my favorite people on this planet. They're amazing. And Phil and Kay were a catalyst for even all of their families as well. Yeah. Being able to forgive Phil, what Kay did, but with restrictions. Like, I forgive you, but you're not moving back in until you fix things with yourself. You know, I'm not going to, put my boys at risk because of your choices. And so,
but I think she earned that respect because that whole family said, "Okay, you need to leave him. You need to get away from him. He's never going to change." And she didn't. She stuck with him. So she earned their respect by staying, you know? And so then her and Phil were able to be that example to the rest of them. And so I think that's why, you know, that so many of them look to Kay and Phil as being maybe not their parents, but, you know, just as close as their parents to them.
That's so true. I was thinking about, as you were talking about them flirting with one another, I remember when I first started, like, you know, being around their the family and going to their house, they had like a sign on their bedroom door that was something about like honeymooning in process or something like that. And I remember being like, they've been married for like, I don't know, at that point, 30-something years, and they were still honeymooning. And so they really did put a priority on that, and just made it fun. And I also was thinking about, one of the things I think Kay was always really good at is valuing what Phil was good at, rather than looking at the things he was not good at. You know, like I think you can do that with your spouse. And I've remember when I kind of came to that epiphany of like, I can look at all the things like Willie doesn't do and be like, oh, those are the things I want. Or I could look at the things he does really well and be like, oh, really value that. And I think Kay taught me that. She was so good at that. Like, she loved that Phil was a good hunter and a good provider, and that he, all those things that made
a pioneer man.
He was a pioneer man. That's right. And rather than look at the things that he wasn't or didn't do, she looked at the things that he did well, and she loved that. And the things that he didn't, like, he wasn't the guy that went on the beach vacation and laid on the beach with her. He didn't do that.
We're all very grateful for that.
Exactly. And she was happy about that. She was like, great, don't go on our beach vacation. I'll just enjoy it with my kids and love that, rather than trying to make him fit into a mold that wasn't him. And I think that was I saw that in her, and that was a gift to me to be able to figure that out in our marriage as well.
So here's a thought that would keep you up at night. Have you ever thought about what might be living in your sheets? Bacteria, germs, major ick. There is a shocking amount of bacteria that builds up in your bed, and it takes almost no time at all for that to happen. That's why I'm loving Miracle Made sheets. They're inspired by NASA technology and infused with silver, which actually helps prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth that I just mentioned. That means that they stay fresher longer, they smell fresher longer, they're staying clean, they're so much better for your skin because you're not sleeping on yesterday's pore clogging germs. And even with all that fancy science behind it, they are still super soft and comfy without the designer price tag. So you get the hotel level comfort, but without the splurge. Plus, they help regulate your temperature while you sleep, so you're not waking up all hot and sweaty one minute and freezing the next. Total game changer. We love our Miracle Made sheets. One, we love that we just have peace of mind that they're cleaner. They're so much better for our skin. And also they're cool. Like, you feel that NASA technology working. We love them so much. We will never look back. So upgrade your sleep as the weather is cooling off. Go to trymiracle.com/whoa to try Miracle Made sheets today. So whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40% off. And if you use my promo code WHOA at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/whoa and use the code WHOA to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/whoa to treat yourself.
I think that's a great piece of advice for any young couple out there. Because when we go into marriage, we go in with these expectations, and sometimes those expectations are too high, you know, and you expect something maybe because it was in your family, or maybe it's you watched another woman say this is what it was in her family. But with every couple is its own dynamic, and so that's one of the things we have to do is we have to figure out what is that dynamic between us?
Yeah.
Because not every man, like Phil, not every man is going to be the kind that writes you love letters, And, Phil told her one time, he said, I told you I loved you when I married you, and if it changes, I'll let you know. Yeah. I mean, now he needed to be a little more, and he did. Over the years, he did, But I think it's important whenever we go into marriage to figure out those things, because expectations are one of the things that can kill a relationship, and kill a love that's in a relationship. Because, my dad did this, so you're supposed to do this. It's different in everyone. You just got to come up with what that is. But you have to ask the question. You have to have communication. Yeah. And, if you talk about it, then you can get to the bottom of what you're good at and what he's good at.
Yeah.
And I just think that's one of the things we got to do early in a marriage.
Yeah.
Or, if you didn't do it early and you're having problems, start there.
Now. Yeah. It might be expectations.
That's right.
Yeah. One of my favorite Phil and Kay stories is whenever Kay said to Phil, like, do you love me? And he said, yeah. And she said, well, write it down. And then he wrote it down. Kay, I love you. And he wrote her that note and she pinned it up. And I just thought, I think it's sweet on a lot of levels. And one, in that she knew she needed something. And so she asked for it. She was she didn't just like brood in. He never writes it down. He never writes me a letter. She said, write it for me.
Yeah. And she taped it to the headboard of their bed,
So she asked for what she needed. And I think that's important as wives and husbands both. Like, ask for what you need. Don't just sit there and brood about it,
I've learned from her to keep all those little notes too, because she has them, like over her windowsill and on the refrigerator and everywhere she's moving. They're taking, packing them all up and taking them, because those are important. And
they are.
When Phil crossed over, and everyone started coming into town, and our houses started filling up with people. And Mia and Karina, kind of their deal when we all get together is washing the dishes. I'll cook or whatever. They wash the dishes, and they have their little time together. But the very first night after he died and people started coming in, we had our first meal at the house. And I looked over my kitchen sink, and there was a note from Mia pinned, just a sticky note. Mom, I want you to be a mom this week and let me do the dishes every night. Just be a mom and a grandma. I was like, oh my goodness. Because she knows that here we are, all these people. I don't want to cook every night. Yeah. We're all having to deal with all the arrangements and then just the people, and it's a lot.
It is.
Yeah. Funeral week is a lot. And I didn't realize that, because that's the closest person who's ever passed in my family, crossed over, I'd like to say.
Yeah.
But I'm not thinking about the next meal until everyone's starting to look around for something to eat. And it's like, oh my goodness. So,
but another part of that was, the church really wanted to just come in and bring us all this stuff.
Yes.
And we had to tell them no, because the Robertsons don't eat other people's food.
No. Yeah.
So it was really tough, and it was really hard to let people know, no, we're good. We all cook. We're all great. We're ready for this. We can handle
certain
this.
People we let us bring us food.
That's right.
And they know who they are. And they did do that.
That's
people
right.
are serving. But just those little, I still have that note. Even though it kind of got wet a little bit, I was like, I got to save this, because the older I get, the more I realize those little moments are really huge. And I want to remember them as long as I can.
Yeah,
that's right.
Good. Well, since you talked about expectations, there was a question that I thought was a really interesting one and a good one. And it said, did you ever not feel like you fit into the Robertson wife mold. I thought
What
that was
is
a
that?
great one.
Yeah. What is the Robertson wife mold?
Thinking about that and like what I was talking about, Kay valuing what Phil was good at. I'm so grateful that Willie values what I'm good at rather than tried to make me fit into a Robertson wife mold, because
Right.
that could have gone very wrong.
That's
and
right.
that
Into
happened.
the mold
Look
of
at
my
us.
mom.
What is
Would
the
we-
Robertson
would we?
wife mold?
Yeah.
What is it?
Exactly.
We're all like,
We're all so different.
No,
Yes.
yeah.
And yeah, I wasn't. Kay cooked 3 meals a day, and I always joke, my mom cooked 3 meals. Like, Kay cooked 3 a day, mom cooked 3 meals. Like, she had three recipes that she made, and it all involved like hamburger meat. But Kay cooked every meal, and like, I didn't grow up that way. I wasn't that person. I wasn't the one, making my husband's tea and giving it to him and all that. And had Willie expected that of me, it would have been very difficult and really hard. And so I do remember having that feeling at times where Phil would kind of like look at me. I don't know, did y'all ever feel that? Phil sometimes would have that look at you that really, he was like trying to like understand you. And I was like, okay, I get it. I'm a little bit different than Kay, even though there's a lot of ways that we're the same and all of our values were the same. But yeah,
Is that before he nicknamed all of us?
Yeah, within the nicknames.
Before he nicknamed us.
Exactly, yes. I was burnt toast, yes.
He would make fun of us, like, or what? Well, what he would do is we gather on the kitchen island at their house, for a meal, and he'd whistle, woohoo! I bet old Missy makes it just as good as this, And I'm like, actually cook your recipe, So, but he could never admit that we could ever be as good at cooks,
Right.
and that's fine. They had a big pride about that.
That's right.
But I loved their cooking so much. I wanted to learn what they cooked because it was amazing. Yeah. And so I told Jace this, and even on the Unashamed podcast, if Phil would have known then that he would be waiting for Missy to show up with his dinners the last few weeks of his life, he would have thought you were slap crazy.
He was bragging on your cooking at the end of his life. Yes.
I'm like, I want to have that conversation with him when we all get together again. Like, how did you like those meals at the end there, old Phil?
That's right.
I want to get him to admit it. No, it was an honor to do all of that.
We were definitely
Loved it.
the yuppie girls that he, loved to like rail against the yuppies. It was like kind of ironic that all his sons married yuppie girls.
Yeah.
I feel like I grew up a lot. Like I grew up in a hunting family. Yeah. I grew up, my grandparents had a garden. They had raised hogs to, slaughter. I feel like, and my aunts and my grandma actually hunted. They would get their coveralls on and go hunt in the deer stand. So I remember growing up and being little and waking up with my uncles and my dad and grandpa and having coffee with them, more milk and sugar than coffee. But I love that. So I feel like I grew up a little more like country. Like I grew up hunting and, going out and riding 4-wheelers at the, hunting camp and, I guess seeing my aunt and my grandmother like fishing and doing all those things, I wanted to do those things. It's like you grow up and you hopefully admire your grandmother, and hopefully that's the grandmother I am. Is the grandkids are like, oh, I just loved all these great memories. So
yes.
I feel like I grew up a little more less yuppie. I feel like I had the best of both worlds. I still loved it, cheerleading and fashion, but I loved also getting dirty.
Yeah. I think just Missy and Korie were the yuppies.
Yes.
I grew up.
I don't like being dirty, and I don't like
Ward
how to do it.
9,
I don't mind.
along with all of them. So I wasn't yuppie.
People ask me now, you don't go hunting? Why don't you go hunt? I'm like, I don't have to. My husband does it for us. I don't have to do it.
That's
Why
right.
would
That's
I?
right.
That's great. Well, I did always say I did grow up fishing with my grandpa all the time, and he did teach me to skin a squirrel when I was very young. So I definitely
Maybe it's just me.
I did have that part as well, but I guess I did grow up in a neighborhood.
Yes.
So that's
we did.
Yeah.
That's that was Phil's definition of yuppie. It was like, if you grew up in a neighborhood, you're yuppie. That I don't care.
We had chickens. We had hogs. We had a garden. Me and my dad went squirrel hunting together. We went fishing together. I mean, that was just, our vacations were to Toledo Bend so that my dad and my mom could fish.
Yeah.
And so he took us all out in the boat too and taught us how to do that. So I still love it now. Now that we have a house in Gulf Shores, we're on the lagoon. And so I have a dock. And so when Corbin and Doc, my grandson, comes out, they always love to come and fish. And I love to go with them, because I don't care if they're stealing my bait. I'm still going to be out there just steady putting in a line and, changing bait and all that kind of stuff. So, I think maybe it was just Missy that was the yuppie. I don't know.
Maybe I will wear the badge proudly.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
But it's different though, because your grandparents lived in Texas. So it wasn't like you were just right there with them, Korie was right with her grandparents, and Jessica got to spend a lot of time with hers, and I did with mine. So yours was a little bit different. Your bringing up was a little bit different.
Yeah. Shep actually just filled out a little back to school form about how, his favorite things about summer, and his favorite thing he did this summer, and it said fishing with K Mama.
Oh,
I was like, that was so sweet. Yes, I know. I was like, made me very proud.
Yeah.
So sweet. So, okay, well, I think let's just do a little life update. Everyone just wants to know kind of where everybody is now. Like I mentioned, we're all grandparents now. And Duck Dynasty ended in 2017, which is crazy. Yeah. We're 8 years past that. And I know, everyone keeps up with their life, and to some extent. But give us a little update on what's happening in your life right now. How many grandkids you have? What's keeping you busy right now? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. So I have 6 that were born to my children, but my oldest granddaughter is married. So I say now that I have 7 grandchildren, and my granddaughter married Jersey Joe's son, Joey.
If you follow Unashamed podcast, you know Jersey Joe.
That's right. That's right. And so we also live in Gulf Shores part of the time. I sell real estate in Gulf Shores. And then we also travel. We speak around the country, different. We do pro-life. We do marriage. We do women's ministry. We do whatever. If somebody calls and says, can you do this? We're like, yeah, we can do that. So fundraiser, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is they ask, then we usually go and do it. But, to me, the best part of that is whenever I come back home and come to West Monroe, my grandkids are so excited to see me, and I love that they're so enthusiastic, about Mom and Pap. They call us, what time will you be home? It's like we're driving, so what time will you be home? Because they want to be at the house whenever we get there. And I love that. I love every part of that. I told Carly, who is my one that's married, I told her a couple of months ago, I was like, now, Carly, I could be a great grandmother by the time I'm 60, because my birthday's not until January. I'll be 60 in January.
Okay.
And I said, I could be a great grandmother by the time I'm 60. And she said, no, I'm sorry, ma'am. You can't. And I said, okay, no pressure. Do it whenever you want to. I said, possibly in my 60s, I could be a great grandmother. She said, possibly in your 60s.
She'll let you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Great.
That's right.
I love it.
But that's what we're doing. We're still doing the same thing. We're just going and sharing whatever, God has put out there for us to share, from experiences to, children, to marriage, to whatever. I feel like God rescued us, and so our response to that rescue is to go out and proclaim. And He doesn't expect perfection out of us. He expects us to be prostrate before Him. In my life right now, prostate and prostrate, I get those a little confused because we hear those words a lot. At 60, you're getting there where you're hearing prostate a lot. So, but He expects.
If you're in your 20s watching
this
podcast, just Google it.
Yeah, just Google what that means. And He expects that out of us, but He also expects us to proclaim what He has healed us from and to proclaim His goodness and His glory. And so that's what we're going to do, until He comes back and gets us. And then we all go to heaven and worship worship Him together.
That's so good.
Yeah.
If you don't know Lisa and Al's story, they have a book. What's the name of your book?
A New Season.
A New Season. And y'all have been on Sadie's podcast before and
Yeah.
told your story, and we're going to get to talk again. I'm going to get to interview Al and Lisa again soon. But go follow up and just learn more about Al and Lisa's story. And y'all just do a great job. Such an incredible ministry. And I know you inspire and encourage so many with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yep.
All right. Life updates.
Oh, gosh.
So much. I know.
It is a lot. All of my kids, when I look at them, I am so impressed with, I'll even say with little man, AK, impressed with the way that they are reacting and living with the circumstances that they're living with.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are going through challenges, every single one of them. Cole's is awesome. I can talk about his because he's about to get married. And he and his fiance just bought a house, their first house, and they've been scraping the ceilings of popcorn and painting them themselves. And so they're going through the normal, happy, we're starting our life together this fall. And that's a challenge, but it's a great one. The other ones and all the other kids in my life have real struggles that they're going through, but they're calling us and they're being transparent and they're saying, what would you do in this situation? How can you help me through this? And that goes back to now we're friends and mentors, and they feel comfortable calling us. Brighton and Reed talk more than me and any of my kids because, Brighton and Jace.
Yeah.
Brighton and Jace are constantly texting each other because they're in Bible study every single day. And last night I even said, I haven't heard you and Brighton weren't talking today. And he was like, oh yeah, we have. We've been texting. I was like, oh, that's great, because she's just learning and growing in Scripture, and she wants to know, what does Jace know about this and what can he share? And so this season, again, I don't want to put a downer on it because this is life. Life is struggles, and it is drama, and it is pressure from outside sources and resources. But it's how we respond to that and how we handle that through the Lord and His guidance and His Holy Spirit and other mentors in our life. So now we are able to be that with our family. And I am honored that
And we
gotten to this
grow so much spiritually through difficulty and through challenges.
Yes.
You were talking about some of those people who you just look at and it's like, oh, it seems like, at the end of the day, they're not going, oh, good Lord, I'm so tired.
Or tomorrow, I'm not done. I have all this to even think about all night tonight
That's
and in the
right.
morning and
That's
tomorrow
right.
and follow up. And I told Jessica, I was like, could we just have like a stress-free? And Jessica was leaning in. I was like, year? And she went, oh, no. That's not
right.
Not possible.
No, a week maybe, but it's what vacations are for.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
If we can get on one, But the last place that we went all together as a family the night before, I was like, I don't want to go home. It's been so good being together with just our family and grandbabies But you have to get back to life, and you have to handle things around us. And the Lord's kingdom is better for it.
Yeah.
And there's people we got to influence and and help and be examples for.
right.
So
Well, I think it's so easy. You want for your kids, in a way, you want them to have it all easy. You don't want them to go through the struggle, but then you also know at your own life, like, okay, the struggle is what grows you, and the struggle. But it's so hard when you watch your kids go through it because you just don't want that for them.
I can say even with Mia, because she was on this podcast recently. I know her personally, and I can see her change. And she would not be who she is without going through 16 surgeries and procedures and years of being bullied and just all of the bad things that she went through. Now, you talk about a light. I don't know. I don't remember all of that before because she's just so overwhelmingly glowing now with the Spirit of the Lord. It is not fake. It is real. He changed her life. And it is amazing to watch that. And so if I would have paved her way easily or more easily, and even for my boys, and now for Karina, no. You got to let them make their own mistakes because it makes them better people.
They have to go through it.
Yes.
We did
Romans
ourselves.
5. Romans 5, 3 through 5. It is talks about, the struggles we rejoice in our sufferings. And it seems so crazy to the world to say those out loud.
Yeah.
Because that gives us perseverance, character, and hope through the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So why would we want to rob our children of that?
Right.
Yeah.
We can't.
We can't. No. So good. If you haven't watched the podcast with Mia as another homework assignment, go back and watch that. You will be so blessed and so encouraged. It's so good. Yeah. I texted Missy last week when I listened to it because I was just like, oh, so good. She did great. I loved it. So, all right, Jessica, life update.
Well, I am a new grandma, so that has been probably the biggest life change. I'll say the biggest.
Wait a minute.
The first biggest.
Have you come up with a name yet?
Oh,
Jessica still cannot figure out a name. All right, everybody send Jessica some ideas of what she can be called.
So Jeff likes Goldie. I like Marmee, which is from Little Women, but I keep calling myself Grandma. And I'm like, everybody's like, you don't want to be called Grandma. That's so old. And I was like, I wear that with a badge of honor. Like, I am proud to be a grandma. Like, my grandma was my favorite person, you know? And so I would cry to stay with her all the time. And so I spent weekends and hunting seasons, and I was always wanting to be there with her. So I was like, what's so bad about being a grandma? And so I keep calling it, it's probably just going to be Grandma because I love it.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
So too.
Yeah.
It's
So
great.
that's been probably the first biggest thing. So we have 2 married kids. Our oldest has had our first grandbaby. But we also have a 9-year-old still at home.
Yeah.
And also River, who is homeschooling through high school. And so I have this huge range. So I have this friendships with my oldest 2 daughters that are both married, and it is so different now and such a beautiful blessing. And we love being together, and which is another blessing when your kids want to be around you. And then we also have 2 more grandbabies coming, which is another blessing and a whirlwind that we've been through. The week Lily brought Winston home is the week we found out that Priscilla's pregnant. So I won't cry. I'll try not to, but that was not something we expected. And obviously now we are through processing and through calling Lisa and being like, we need to talk to you about something. She probably thought, oh God, what's going on in their marriage? But it was really just like, we need some counseling on how to approach this and with grace and mercy and love. And so I remember it was actually Super Bowl Sunday is when they called us in there and told us. And you know, obviously you're shocked because she at the time she was 18 and her senior year, she was homeschooling, but so it's not something you necessarily want to plan for your child, right?
Yeah,
Nobody wants their high school child to get pregnant, right?
Yeah.
But knowing that God showed us mercy and grace, and any child, I mean, God creates all life. So he created this child for a purpose. And obviously we're so excited to have a little girl coming in our lives in October. But that was a long process, a lot longer conversation than what we would want to have right now. But Priscilla's doing great. And she knows she's so loved. We had her shower yesterday with y'all, and just the outpouring of love and support that she's gotten. Not that there's no negativity. I just tend to erase those comments, whether it's on social media, and I've tried to teach my kids to do the same thing.
Exactly right.
Erase and block people if they're going to be hateful or negative.
Yeah.
They don't know grace.
They don't know you.
That's
they don't
right.
know.
Yeah.
That's right. So she's doing great, and the pregnancy's going great, and she's going to be such a good mama. She starts college in the spring. So we're so excited. Obviously, we've gotten through those stages of like shock, and then what are the next steps here?
Yeah.
Every child is worth celebrating.
That's right.
Every child.
We are so excited. We cannot wait, and she's just going to be so beautiful. We've been pulling out pictures of Priscilla as a little baby, and I just can't wait to meet her. She's going to be great. And then 2 months later, Merritt came to us out of the blue. Now, Merritt, this is my child. Merritt wanted to wait till she's 30 to have kids. And she was like, you might have one when I'm 30.
I remember her. I remember her saying like, no,
She had her life all
Lily
planned.
always wanted to have babies early. Merritt always was like,
Merritt's
maybe.
like she had this whole plan. Her and Tyler had a whole plan. And I was like, well, apparently that wasn't God's plan.
Yeah.
So they came to us out of the blue, and I thought she was lying. I was like, you're lying. You know, this can't be. And
I'm like, y'all know how this works, right? In your family? Okay.
we did have 4, so surely they knew. But anyway, obviously we were shocked, and they've had some adjustments to their future plans. But what a blessing! They're going to have a little girl, so they're going to have 3 in less than 1 year, all in 1 calendar year. And Winston's now almost 7 months, so I can't. No, like shocked. If you would have said, I'm going to have 3 grandbabies in 1 year,
In a year,
I would have said, you're crazy. But obviously we're so grateful, and God's plan is always the right plan. So.
Yes.
And I was telling your mom yesterday, I said, Jessica's going to need some help. She can't carry 3 kids. And Jessica said, watch me.
Yeah. I said, I'm going to have a strap on my back, on the front, on my hip.
Yeah, I know. I got practice with Will and Bella because they were just 10 months apart carrying 2. And it's been helpful as now that I have grandbabies because they all want grandma to hold them. And you're like, you want to hold them. You're like, yes, I can hold both of them at the same time. I can hold 3 at once. You know, that's how you just.
I now have to sit down on the couch to hold mine because they're just too big. I can't pick them up anymore.
You're so like can sit on your lap. But
My youngest is 8, so I have to just. How about you come sit in my lap while we're sitting on the couch? Yeah,
so sweet. That's so sweet. Yeah, we got to have a big shower yesterday out at Logtown and celebrate, and it was so fun to get to celebrate Zilla.
it was beautiful. Yeah,
She's going to be the cutest little mama and just going to be great. And we're so excited.
Yeah.
And cousins, little girl cousins. Oh my gosh, is the cutest.
Yeah.
It's the cutest thing ever. So that's going to be so much fun.
Excited, yes. I've already been like mapping out matching outfits for the girls. We've already been thinking about Halloween costumes in the future, how cute they should all be together. It's all those little things. I was like, stockings. I got to get all new stockings for them. And so it's been.
Oh, the stocking thing is a real thing. I'm like adding stockings every year. I'm like, I just actually just went and ordered some like blanks because I was like,
I did that about 3 or 4 years ago, and I've run out.
Exactly. Our mantles are getting really full, which is such a blessing, the greatest blessing ever.
It is.
Well, thank y'all so much. This was really fun to just get to catch up, and I always learn things from all of you, and I hope that you guys have too. I hope you've been encouraged and inspired, and I hope you just have a great week. Thanks for listening.